FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, and your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. That's right. I believe in you. Welcome to episode 128 of WhysAdvice. And want to take a moment to let you know, catch you up on a couple important things. The WhysAdvice app has been re-released to the App Store. So go to your App Store, whether it be on the Apple side or in the Google Play Store. You can get the latest version of the WhysAdvice app. Make sure you have that. It makes it a lot easier to read the show notes for each episode. And I get a lot of positive comments from those who've already been downloading it, that you like it. So if you don't have the app, now's the time to go to your App Store and get it. It's a much better listening experience. And I saw a couple comments today from people say, "You have an app?" Yeah, there's a whole app. There's no charge to it. It just makes it a lot easier to listen to the show. If you're not inclined to apps, if you don't want to do that, we're on iHeartRadio. I'm on Stitcher Radio. It's on SoundCloud. You can find the show on Twitter, on Facebook. It's on LinkedIn, YouTube. It's just about everywhere you can hear a podcast. It's in the Apple podcast app as well. So if you're not listening, which of course you are, but encourage other people to listen, encourage them to get the app. Again, I only like it because it just makes it one more tool in your toolbox that, it puts my silly picture on your home screen so that when complacency sets in, episode 72, and you quit listening to the podcast, if you have to go find it on your own, you may never ever make it back. But if you have that silly app and you have my silly face on your home screen, you may ignore it for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden you may see it and go, I need to click on that again. So it's a great tool to remind you to bust that complacency trap, get back into it, and dig in. So thank you all for being here. We are now 128 coming up. I'll open the show with Glapha, I believe is how you pronounce the name, out of... Actually, it doesn't say where, but it says, "Hey, Mike, I'm writing to you on a bad day in hopes of beginning to explain things a little better. I listen to your podcast at work, and I like it. I haven't noticed anybody writing in who has admitted to having a mental illness, so I thought that I would. I have general anxiety disorder and chronic depression. The depression is mostly okay with medication, except sometimes in the winter. The anxiety causes issues. I'm an emotional eater, so I don't only eat when I'm anxious or depressed. I have tried for many years to deal with my emotions with food. In September of 2017, I walked back into Weight Watchers. I had achieved lifetime in the 1980s before I realized that I had depression and anxiety. I knew that I could lose weight. I had done it twice before. This time, I wanted to stay at lifetime. I achieved lifetime status in September 2016 after losing about 60 pounds. Now I had to keep it off. I have done that for another year. I am feeling more confident, and I will try to put exercise into my life. With my anxiety, exercise doesn't seem to help. I end up getting more anxious trying to get out and exercise. It becomes a goal, and goals can put too much pressure on me. I walked my first 5K last weekend, and suddenly I felt motivated. I walked 2 miles 3 times this past week. Today, the anxiety is getting to me, but I'm not sure why. Today I've eaten more than I need, but because of Weight Watchers, I binge on baby carrots, fruit, or other 0-point snacks. Then I try to distract myself until the anxiety passes. My husband cooks for me and loosely follows a recipe. I don't track very much. I eat the same breakfast every day for my health. Lunch during the week is a variation within the same points than I have my snacks. My husband makes supper and has incorporated more vegetables and fruit into the supper. I eat a modest amount of the main dish and I load up on the vegetables. This works for me. I weigh most weeks as I still need the support. If I go up 2 weigh-ins in a row, I cut back on my weekend treats or something. While my explanation seems scattered, so I don't know how much sense it makes, I just wanted to let people know that a person with a mental illness has also lost weight. And I maintained it for a year. Thank you, Glapha. Wow, what a cool story. It's one of the things that I say often, and it's so very fun when an email comes in and validates it. You know, I'm a firm believer that you can do this, that everyone can do this. And so this is a perfect example of if you eat right, if you have the right support system, if you have people in your life helping you, then anything is possible. Now, obviously, you made Lifetime in the 80s, right? And that was before you realized you had depression and anxiety, and then slowly drifted up and then back to Lifetime September of 2016. You have proven beyond any shadows of any doubt that you actually can do this. And that you've maintained it for a year and a half proves that anyone else can do this. That's the beauty of our community. That's the beauty of us working all together, is that, we have proof of what we're trying to do is possible. Just before the show, I was out on Twitter and Christy Wright, I don't know if you're following her on Twitter, but it's Christy B. Wright. And she kind of gave a quote of and I'm going to paraphrase now because I don't have it right in front of me. But she said that if you're going to be a leader, you have to work on yourself because you can't lead somebody to a place that you haven't been. And so this is a perfect example, is as a person with a mental illness, as you described it, you're a leader. You're leading people with mental illnesses to know that if they want to do this, that they can do this. You're at a place where you've reached Lifetime, you're winning, you're getting it done, and you absolutely are a leader and should celebrate that. You don't have any barriers that you can't overcome, and you're getting it done. Now, when your anxiety flares up because of exercise, because you set yourself a goal, let's just reframe it. Now, I'm certainly not an expert in this area. I'm certainly not able to completely help you. But what I want to offer is let's not look at it as exercise. A lot of us get hung up on that term exercise, where we feel like we have to put on exercise clothes. We feel like we have to put on exercise shoes, and we feel like we have to grab a stopwatch and do something that's called exercise. When in fact, all we need to do is shift the mind just a little bit, shift the terminology a little bit, and just commit to moving more, commit to do more. You don't have to actually call it exercise. You just have to, every once in a while, take a walk a little further than you did the day before, and just kind of live that world and just know that out there, you're getting it done. You're able to get it done, and you're such a leader. Your email, as you explained it, you said seems a little scattered. I don't believe so. I think it sounded absolutely perfect. I think what you found is you found what works for you, which is how this entire program is structured. You have some challenges, some roadblocks, like we all do. You found a way to work it. You have support. Your husband's an amazing guy helping you with this, making the recipes for you, and you're continuing to eat them. You've changed your lifestyle in such a way where now when you binge on baby carrots. You binge on fruit and other 0-point snacks. You have found a way to win, and you're leading other people to win with you. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you for writing in. Emily writes in, says, Dear not FatDag, thank you very much for all that you do. You are truly an inspiration and a great wingman. I wanted to ask a question that I'm not sure has been specifically discussed before. I've been following the plan since March, and I've lost 13 pounds, although it's much less than a lot of people lose. I'm proud of this because I didn't have too much to lose, and I'm 5 foot tall. However, 2 months ago, I stopped losing. I've been following the plan religiously since day one, and it's just not budging. Although I've been stuck at a weight that is now in the healthy weight range for me, yay, my real goal would be another 5 to 10 pound loss to get me more in the center of my healthy weight range rather than towards the high end. I'm trying to keep my spirits up, and I'm telling myself that I now know how to maintain my weight, which is good. And I'm tempted to change my goal weight to my current weight, but after listening to your podcast about getting to your true goal weight, I'm hesitant to do this. I just don't feel like I'm quite at that point yet where I truly feel like I don't want to lose any more weight. I'm almost there, but not yet. What do you recommend? I feel like the plan just isn't working for me anymore. I usually eat most of my weeklies, but I'm going to try to not eat any weeklies for a few weeks to see if that budges the scale. If it doesn't, I really think I might change my goal weight. Is it fair to let myself be unhappy with my current weight if my body wants me to maintain? But alternatively, is it fair to stop trying to lose prematurely and deny myself of reaching a true goal weight? I have talked to my leader about this, but as we all come from different walks of life and different experiences, I want to hear your perspective. And perhaps discussing this on your show may help others going through a similar dilemma. Again, thank you for all you do in your service to our country. You are such an inspiration to so many people. I wish you good focus from California, Emily. Emily, I love a lot of things about your email. The most important thing that I love is that you said you are proud of everything you've done. That is so critical in this journey, is that we have to recognize that what we're doing is hard work. We have to celebrate that a 13-pound weight loss, regardless of how tall you are, how much you have to lose, a 1-pound weight loss is significant because you made a deliberate effort to do that. So to be able to lose 1 pound 13 times or any other number is focus and deliberate effort, which you absolutely should be proud of yourself for, and I'm glad to see that you are. Now, when it comes to topics that haven't been discussed before, I'm pretty sure we've discussed it all, because the journey is so similar for all of us that you can take any one of the scenarios and kind of reframe it into your own scenario. And so therefore, I think we've pretty much covered it all. The answer is pretty much covered all, but this tool just continues to remind you to stay focused on your goals and get it done. You're doing that. You're actually working the plan perfectly as you described it. And so what I want you to do is I want you to kind of relax a little bit, right? You're in a healthy BMI range. Congratulations, right? Now, you say you want to lose another 5 to 10 pounds. Where does that number come from? Right? If you look, if you can pinpoint an area where you say, this is where the 5 pounds needs to come from, you may lose 5 pounds and it's not going to come away from there. It may come off as a thin layer all over your body and you still have that quote unquote problem area that maybe you don't like. So how did you come up with a 5 to 10 pound number? What I want you to focus on is, let's not focus on the number in your scenario. And in a lot of our cases, you're doing great work. You're living a healthy lifestyle. You're tracking. You're eating mindfully. You're absolutely working the plan perfectly. At that point, you celebrate the fact that you're at goal. If you lose another 5 to 10 pounds, sure, that's great. But you're working the plan perfectly. You're in a healthy BMI range. What you're going to find out is, as you loosen the mind and as you kind of give yourself permission to just enjoy it, then that stress goes away, and then you will be surprised. You may all of a sudden start ramping up into a weight loss mode to get you to wherever it is your body's going to settle out at. If it settles where you're at now, you're in great shape. You're doing fantastic work. But what you have now accomplished is you have added a health benefit back to your life. And that is why we're celebrating. Doesn't matter what you weigh, doesn't matter what you look like. If you are completely healthy and you're loving everything and you've made the best you can do health-wise, that's where we celebrate. So keep up the great work, Emily. I'm glad you've talked to your leader about it. I'm glad you wrote in here. It'll be interesting to see where you settle out. I think at this point, your mind is absolutely playing the game with you, and you're going to have to kind of break it up. So reach out and find what it is you're looking for from the Connect community, but their health is what I want you to celebrate. Emily, thank you for your email. Jen writes in and says, "Hello, FatDag. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for being my wingman. I found your podcast through a coworker who mentioned that it has been a game changer for her. Now that I finally found it, I was spelling WHYSE, W-I-S-E, instead of W-H-Y-S. I totally get it. I've been binge listening and I'm on episode 66. I love your journey and I love hearing about other people as well, as there's a lot of power in knowing that other people are out there succeeding and learning so much about themselves through Weight Watchers. My story is probably not so different from many other people's, as this is my second time on Weight Watchers. The first time I joined, I was 226 pounds. It was about 10 months before my wedding in 2013. So my why was only to look and feel good for that day. As you often say, I suppressed some of my bad, unhealthy habits, but I didn't even attempt to change or get to the bottom of them. So after our honeymoon and getting down to my lowest weight in years of 189 pounds, my weight slowly crept back up and I quit Weight Watchers entirely within a year. Fast forward nearly 4 years, and a coworker who was having success on Weight Watchers proposed bringing a meeting to work, so I joined my job. I weighed in at 220 pounds at the first meeting back in May of 2017. I was so angry at myself for letting myself gain the weight back, even though I had vowed not to. The first day, that day at my second weigh-in, I decided I'm done. I'm 34 years old, and I was having aches and pains that I shouldn't have at my age. I couldn't walk up the stairs without huffing and puffing, and I hated clothes shopping, taking pictures. I had no confidence. My why is my health. I want and need to feel good and healthy. Not feel like I'm 40 years older than I am because I'm carrying so much unhealthy extra weight. Which brings me to today. I found your podcast last week and I love it. I now use the hashtag WhysAdvice in my Instagram pics. It's such a common sense thing that I think we sometimes forget it. It's helped me recommit after a recent vacation, and today I weighed myself, and the scale said 188 pounds. I'm not going to lie to you, FatDag, I started crying a little, and I'm not a crier. It was lower than the lowest weight I recorded my first time on Weight Watchers before I quit. But I'm not quitting this time, and as I start to look and feel better and better, it reminds me again of my why. So anyways, I just wanted to email you to thank you for what you're doing on the podcast and on Connect, and for your common sense, no nonsense yet sympathetic approach. I wish you good focus. Best, Jen. Jen, congratulations on hitting 188 pounds. I'm glad it brought tears. That means you are emotionally invested in this journey. Whether you're a crier or not, if you can be emotionally invested into your journey, you can get to wherever it is you want to go. Shout out to your coworker for sharing. I always appreciate when folks share the show. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to share it in the ways that I'd love to share it out there. But as you guys continue to tag other people on all your social media channels and tell them that the podcast exists, I enjoy seeing all those tags. And so thank you for her for sharing it, and thank you for continuing to share it as well. Your story is actually very common. So a lot of us set a why that is superficial in nature from a standpoint of, I want to look better for a wedding. I want to look better for so-and-so's wedding. I want to look better for a certain date. And you've actually demonstrated that that when you can hit a goal, you can make goal focused on your how. You've proven that. It's when you focus on your why that you can maintain it for life. So you were focused so much on hitting this goal weight for the wedding day that you were able to get there. You were able to suppress your bad habits. You were able to get it done, and you hit goal. And then what happened is because that was just an end date in mind, you reverted back to all of your bad habits. And then you gained weight. And so rather than you being angry at yourself for rejoining, I want you to be proud of yourself for rejoining. It would have been so much easier to admit defeat and quit. and quit for good and not ever care, but you didn't do that. So there's no reason for you to be angry. You're winning. You absolutely need to be proud. Whether you vowed to do this again or not, you're doing it again. You're having amazing success. This time, let's set a plan in place. Let's give ourselves some triggers. Let's find out what it is that we will never, ever do again. And for me, it's a number on the scale. For me, it's a clothing size. For me, there are things along my journey that say, if this should pop up, that's a trigger for me. That's a warning sign for me. And so that will never, ever allow me to get back to 264 pounds. I knock on wood when I say that, but that's the mindset that I'm at. Now, as you focus on your new why is your health, and you want and you need to feel good and healthy. I want you to dig a little bit deeper with that sentence. Because if I were to take 100 people right now and ask them, various heights and weights and various stages in their journey, and I would say yes or no, do you want to be healthier? Yes or no? I don't think anyone would say no. So no matter who I polled, whether people were on Weight Watchers or not on Weight Watchers or not following any sort of diet plan, if I just polled 100 random people and say, do you want to be healthier? Yes or no? If 100% of them would say yes, but they're not committed to getting it done, then being healthy, wanting to be healthy by itself is not quite deep enough to change your life. Everybody wants that. And if everybody wants that, but few people are able to have the success that we're having, then what we need to understand is that we have to dig a little deeper. We have to define, what does feel good mean? What does getting healthy mean? What does it look like in your specific journey? What happens if it doesn't happen? What happens if you're not successful? What does that look like? And as you jot all that down, as you write it down, then you suddenly realize that the definition of healthy relates specifically to you. And it's not just a generic term of getting healthy, but you actually understand what getting healthy looks like and feels like, and you're able to solve it. That why will carry you to goal. That's the why that's gotten you down to 188 pounds. That's the why that will continue to keep you crying every day as you reach a new milestone in your weight loss journey and you get to goal. And you step on the scale for the very last time saying, I no longer want to lose weight. I'm at goal. I'm healthy. I've regained every health benefit that I could ever regain because I put forth the effort, focused on my why, and got it done. Jen, thank you so much for your email. Appreciate that. Out of Scottsdale, Arizona, Ellen writes in and says, hi there, Mike. Well, I'm finally writing into you after something just happened in my life that I believe is worthy enough for your show, and especially for others out there on our same adventure. It's kind of something maybe a female would understand better than a male, but maybe not. Yesterday at Costco, I bought a 3-pack of underpants. I've been wearing a size medium. Yay, I'm below goal, and I will celebrate a year at Lifetime this month. In Victoria's Secret's underpants, but I figured the Calvin Klein ones at Costco were all sealed up, so I couldn't see them. Were probably smaller. And gosh, I'm always more comfortable in a larger size underwear, right, ladies? So I bought the size large. Plus, they are 98% cotton, so I knew they would shrink. Well, today, after washing them and putting them in the dryer, they are absolutely, positively too big. The wrong size. Because, hello, I'm a medium, not a large. But in my head, I'm a large, still after even a year. Even when I try on clothes, the salespeople always end up bringing me one size smaller. Well, okay, man of wisdom, when, oh when, will my head catch up to my body? Thanks for your thoughts and thanks for your podcast, which I listen to daily. Now as I walk my dog in the mornings, which I have finally cooled down to a bearable from an extremely hot Arizona summer. Thank you for the sneeze, Wyoopsep. I wish you good focus. Ellen, what a cool story. Because again, you're absolutely right. Is if we live our entire life overweight, clothing is one of those things that many of us, and myself included, I was always willing to grab a size that was large enough, that was comfortably big, where it didn't feel tight anywhere on my body. I didn't want my body sticking out in weird places, my belly sticking out. So I would wear a shirt a little bit bigger so it just kind of hung on me versus clung to me. So as we go through this process, we almost all of us, as we're wearing clothing size that's already too big because we're trying to hide the wrinkles and the all those things that we don't like about our bodies. So we're already buying clothes that are too big. Right now, we could almost all drop a clothing size and have it fit the way clothing was designed to fit, but we don't like the look of that. So therefore, we go one size up or two to hide the flaws and the imperfections. So when you think about your weight loss journey, and you now are losing weight, you're at Lifetime, which is amazing. Congratulations on that. But now you're trying to figure out what size you actually are. Well, forever you've been wearing the wrong size for one, and then you now have to you have to kind of compete with manufacturers. All have different labels for two. So the actual number on the tag doesn't matter. The size label doesn't matter. How things fit is what matters. But the label gives you a gauge. It gives you a starting point. You're a medium. Start buying mediums. And I'd venture to say you could probably fit into a small if you know what the clothing is supposed to fit like. That's happened to me a couple times is now that I can wear clothes that actually fit, I can get away with a small t-shirt on occasion. And I can get away with a medium t-shirt. I actually, the brand of underwear I wear, just so you know, I like the size small. They fit perfect. TMI, I get it. But it's because I like things to fit snug. Because now I'm not afraid of the shape that the snugs shape out on the side of my body because I'm not trying to cover anything. I'm just trying to wear clothes that fit. When will your brain catch up? I don't know. I don't know when it'll catch up. You will always be able to wear something that is larger than you need to wear. Find the right clothing size. I would now say, and I would, splurge a little. I would splurge, and I would, no offense to Costco, but I would go spend some money on the right size clothing. I would spend a little extra and buy something that you wouldn't normally buy, and maybe a brand you wouldn't normally buy that we would consider, quote unquote, maybe a luxury brand, because that may help you all of a sudden realize that I'm cementing this in. I joke about that with the jeans that I wear is they're not cheap. I'm not outgrowing them because I can't just go replace them for $10 down to Costco. If I outgrow these pants, it's going to cost me a couple bucks. So I'm not going to outgrow them. And so that's starting to help me realize that, this is the size that I am. My brain's still like yours a little bit, still every once in a while doesn't quite understand that I can wear a small t-shirt or a medium t-shirt. I call it a schmedium, depending on the brand. But my brain doesn't fully get it. But now a year and a half into it, it is starting to catch up. What I know is I don't wear an extra large anything anymore. I don't wear a 2X. So there's that happy medium between the schmediums and the 2X that I'm really happy with. So keep up the great work. Your brain will catch up. And so what I want you to do, again, like I said earlier, is I want you to go celebrate, buy some things that fit well, fit the way clothing is supposed to fit. And that may help solidify it in for you. Ellen, thank you for your email. Ed writes in, says, "Hi, FatDag. I am new to Weight Watchers. I started on September 15th, 2017. My wife and I are on the journey together, which really helps with food planning and staying on track. We are blessed to have an excellent Weight Watcher leader and a great Weight Watcher group for support. We have also started a regular exercise program 3 times a week to supplement our healthier eating. In a few short weeks, I have lost 14 pounds and I feel much better. When I received a 5% charm from my new Weight Watcher keychain, I was as proud as I have ever been. I love the meetings. I love the interaction with the group before, during, and after the meeting. We have made some good friends who are all on the same journey with challenges and determination to succeed. When I started this journey, my why was because the doctor ordered it. And in just a few short weeks, it's changed to reaching Lifetime. It feels so good to say it, and listening to you has brought me to the conclusion that I can do this, but not alone. My wife, the Weight Watcher group, Connect, and FatDag are my current resources that are helping me stay focused and on track to my goal. I have journaled daily for many years, and as I was reflecting on my current journey, I remember something I noted a while back. If you are able to do it yourself, then you must be thinking too small. These words fully describe my weight loss attempts and failures in the past as I was trying to do it alone. I eventually fell back to the behaviors of the past, and I gained all the weight back and a little more. This time, with a newly developed support team, it feels different, better, energizing, and reflective. All of the elements for success. Thank you, FatDag, for your story, your dedication to helping others, and especially for your service to our country. Ed, congratulations on hitting 5%. If you've hit 5%, then what you've proven is that you can set a goal. You can work towards that goal. And if you set that goal, you can set any goal and reach it. The plan doesn't change. So if you've hit your 5%, you can easily hit 10%. And then from that point, you can hit goal. You have summed this up perfectly. I highlighted and underlined your quote, and I'm going to read it again. If you are able to do it yourself, then you must be thinking too small. That is so powerful. Because as we work this journey, we know we need tools along the way. FatDag is a tool. The podcast is a tool. The meetings are a tool. Connect is a tool. All of those are fueled by your why. And as you bounce around from tool to tool, you know that you can do this. The fact that you and your wife are doing it together is a huge help, and it really actually it makes me smile to see that, because when I see folks in my meeting room that come in together, as a husband and wife team, they're almost always way more successful because at home they have the same goals and they're working towards the same goal together with the same struggles. It makes it that much more better. I'm glad you have an excellent Weight Watcher leader. There's so many fantastic leaders out there. The Weight Watchers support group at the meetings is just a fantastic resource. I'm so glad that you plugged into it. And as you say, you are as proud as you have ever been. That's an amazing feeling. The reason you're proud of yourself is because even though you have some amazing tools, you are still putting in the hard work. Right? All the tools in the world. The tools you mentioned, everybody on the planet has access to these tools. But if you don't put the tools into action, it doesn't help. So Ed, you're working the plan. You're proud of yourself because you figured out that you had tools, but you're using them and you're able to use them with your support group and get it done. It's an honor to tell you congratulations on your 5%. It's an honor to walk this journey with you. I believe that you can get to goal. I believe that your wife can get to goal with you. And when you do, I want to hear about it. Thank you for writing in. I want to close this show before we get into the actual closing. I want to talk about Operation FatDag. As you know, I've been in the military for 26 years. I probably should have been kicked out of the military. Episode 54 goes into much greater detail than I will now, and I won't repeat the whole thing, but I want to share a couple pieces of it with you. So at 25 years in the military, going on 26 now, 20 of them, I was overweight. I didn't understand that there were tools and resources available to me to help me get to goal. I had no idea they existed. I thought I was in this alone. I had reached out to folks and asked for help, but I think now looking back, even as I asked for help, I was a little bit unwilling to take them up on the help they were offering me. So I didn't understand fully that I had to do this with somebody else, that I needed an accountability team, I needed a partner, I needed people, a wingman to walk this journey with me. So as I stumbled through my military career, I probably should have been kicked out. luckily, I was taken care of for whatever that means. But we together we ignored the true scenario, the true situation, and I was finally able to, with the help of Connect, with the help of Weight Watchers, with the help of the Wingman, I was able to get my life on the path that it's never been on before. So as I'd celebrated all that, what I realized is that there are folks in the military just like me. They're the number one retention issue in the military. We lose more people every year to the obesity crisis than we do anything else out of our military. That's a staggering number, and it's a preventable number. And so I understand that I could have been a statistic. I've met with people who have been kicked out of the military, and I hear their stories. And the stories are common, and they say, I didn't know what options I had. I didn't know what resources were available. And so a military career comes to an end because of a weight problem. I've said this before, if I was an alcoholic or if I was a gambler, they have resources to help me with that. But as I understood it, is they were simply telling me to place smaller bets, to drink less, to go to the gym, to work out more. And that alone was not enough to get me going. So I've now vowed that one of the things that I want to do is this Operation FatDag. I have the opportunity now. This will be the third time that I've done it. The Indiana Army National Guard has done a great job of they have a beautiful fit camp of folks who are working this journey. And at the end of their training, they bring me in, they give me an opportunity to address folks who are in the exact same situation that I was in. They're folks that are on the verge of losing their military career. And all they need is some hope. All they need is some inspiration. All they need is someone to say, hey, here's a tool. And not only here's a tool that I know you can do this. I believe that you can do this. If you really want this, you can do it. So they bring me in and I deliver that message. And one of the things I love to do is I love to tell them that I use Weight Watchers to do it. And that inside Weight Watchers is a community of folks who believed in me. And they believed in me so much that they helped me find the belief in myself and they helped get me to goal. So as I close my talk, again, episode 54 kind of describes it, but as I close my talk, I reach in and I hand them cards and letters that the Connect community, that the podcast community, that the Wise Wingman community has sent in. And I say, not only do I believe in you, but there's a whole bunch of people who don't even know you who believe in you. And then I hand them the cards that you sent in. And as I back away from the room quietly, and I just watch. And I watch them open the cards, and you can see the words that you've written on your card literally jumping off the paper, and you can see it going into their mind, and you can see the transformation start to take place. So as I close episode 128, I'm asking you if you want to be involved in that. Inside the show notes for this episode, inside the WhysAdvice app, scroll down to the notes. You'll see the address to where to mail the cards. You got about a week from the time you hear this live, and maybe 2 weeks to get a card in. I probably need about 50 or 60 of them. What I do is I double them up, give them 2 or 3 if I get extra. But that is the start of their journey. And then you can be a part of it. And I appreciate you wanting to be a part of that. When we do that, we are better together. We realize, just like Ed said, that we can all do this, but we need to be able to find someone that we can do it with, because we just can't do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. We're in this together, and when we get to goal, when we find someone else that we've gotten to goal, we celebrate. We celebrate together, and we share it on the air. So go to FatDag.com, click on Listen Now, send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. You can email directly from the WhysAdvice app, or you can send in an email to onair@fatdag.com. I want you to email in your celebrations because I want you to be proud of what you're doing. You heard a couple of times in the show folks who are proud of what they've done. That pride will carry you a very long way. Because with all the tools available, with all the resources available, you still have proven to yourself that you can do it. I already knew you could do it. I believe in you. That's why I believe in you, because I know you can do this. And when you say you're proud of yourself, that's a little bit of shock that where you finally admit that you know now that you can do it. And I want to be there to celebrate with you. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus.